You got it.
What is today? August 13th.
So,
Flowers for Christmas?
and that's what I just.
Didn't do that long ago either.
It was after. No, because the only way I remember is because I was in Alaska and I was flying home when it happened. And so my time hop, it was like, you flew to Alaska.
Calling the Board of Public Works meeting to order, Wednesday, August 13th. We have a quorum. I'm assuming that Tony will show up. I've not heard if he won't. And we want to welcome Becky Whitmore-Quinn, who is sitting in for our treasurer today. Okay, so let's take a look at the minutes from July. And if I can get to look at them, a motion to approve the minutes of July 2025.
And then, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes
We have a motion. Okay, we have
on 2025.
we have a motion from Mr. Price. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Second by Cooney. Any discussion, corrections? None. All in favor to approve?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Okay, let's take a look at the fund reports. Can I get a motion to approve the fund report?
You don't need one.
What?
You don't need one.
Oh, that's right. we don't.
Yeah, they're just for information if we have any questions.
Okay, any discussion on that?
Not from here. Mr. Price, any?
Anybody else?
No, discussion.
You're good?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. Claims recommendation, can I get a motion, can I get a motion to approve our claims recommendation of $11,783.07?
Looks like Tony getting the door.
I make a motion to approve the accounts payable voucher transaction list for $11,783.07.
I have a motion by Mr. Cooney, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Price, any discussion about those claims?
I do have a question about, where is it? Let's see it. I do have, maybe it was the accredited security, is that for supplies or something for the police department?
That would be tasers.
Oh, thank you, that would be supplies.
Yeah, I think it was batteries, the car.
Okay, it's like 3129 and some change. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. All those in favor of approving the claims recommendation for $11,783.07, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion carried. Let's take a look at the payroll distribution. $18,420.76. I get a motion to approve the payroll distribution. Motion by Mr.
Mr. Anthony Cooper to approve the payroll distribution in the amount of $18,420.76.
I have a motion from Mr. Cooper. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Cooney. Any questions or discussion? None. All those in favor of approving the payroll distribution of $18,420.76, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Police Department, we got you, Chief.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so we'll start off with, I handed out a couple handouts. If you go to the line that says PT results, so we're currently in the interview process. I want to thank the chairman and Mr. Price for sitting in on that. We have two processes going on right now. We have laterals, which means they have experience in the training that they need. And then we have non-laterals, which would be no experience or anything like that. So those two, along with three supervisors, did interviews for the laterals. We had 2, I believe, that day. We had 2 we did previously. So we have those 4 scheduled to meet with myself and Deputy Chief Williams, and that'll be their final process to go through. Saturday, we had our non-laterals. We had 80 applications. We had 12 sign up to come to the PT test, and we had 6 show up to the PT test. So out of the 80, we had 6 show up. Out of that, 4 actually passed the PT test. The other 2 were off by large margins to even where we wouldn't accept them. So they will be cut from the process, and then we'll get with the chairman to set up which 2 board members would like to sit on these interviews, and then we'll go from there. I think DC's in the process of finding those dates that we can get that set up. So that'll be coming up. But I want you to kind of see how the process works. And I don't know if you want to make a comment on the
Yeah,
process.
I thought it was very interesting. It wasn't anything that was, I had to know the answers to, with the exception of, I think there was one situational question. The rest were all, you're pretty basic, why do you want to work for Southport and things like that. But I did enjoy it quite a bit, just to see them firsthand and knowing that they're already trained.
Right.
And seeing how they would come across wanting to do a reserve job for us. And I enjoyed it.
And it'll be interesting if you do the other one too, from the non.
Right, from
You'll
people
see-
who want to be
Yeah.
officers to that.
Right.
People, they were already very polished,
Right.
the ones that we interviewed. So
And
this will
the-
be,
And the non-laterals will be more nervous because it's a structured interview.
Right.
And most jobs, you don't do a structured interview with 5 people.
Right.
Firing questions at you. So it'll be interesting,
Yeah.
when you guys see
yeah,
that.
I appreciated being involved in that quite a bit.
Thank you. No, thank you
I'm
guys
sure
for
Dale
doing
did, Dale.
So one of the things
Enjoy it.
that we're looking at is, so these non-laterals we'd have to hold an academy for. It's not productive or cost-effective to hold an academy for 4 people, hoping you'll get all 4 out, and then hoping they'll get through a 6-month FTO. So what we're going to do is go ahead and do the interviews. We'll do the backgrounds to make sure that they're solid to go further now. But we're going to open the process up again for non-laterals and take more applications,
Sure.
and then do that again. If we did the academy, it wouldn't be till April, May of next year anyway.
Wow.
So that'll give us time to do another round. And if we can get somewhere to 10 to 15 would be a minimum.
Is that your,
Yeah, that way it would be cost effective to run an academy that way. So we'll send out, like I said, we're gonna do their backgrounds, we'll do their interviews. Because again, if we find something in the background, we might only end up with 3. So instead of holding them over till next year, we just cut them now. So it's kind of the plan for that. But I want you guys to keep those, and then, like I said, when you're in the interviews, they'll kind of give you something else you can look at too while you're doing those. The other handout I gave you kind
Chief,
of.
can I have a question about the entry and exit? Is that at the academy, you need to be able to do this to get in?
Yeah,
And
so.
then by the time you're done with the training, then you need to be able to do this to prove that
Yeah,
prove.
so if we have a full-time officer and we get him scheduled for ILEA, the training academy out there, we do it the same here. You go out the week before and you have to have entry standards to even go the next week. You'd be surprised how many flunk the week before and can't go to the academy. So, yeah, that's the entry standard is what we expect now. And then after our 6-month academy, this is what we expect to exit, to get out. And those are all standards from the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, since ours is certified through them.
Right, yeah.
So one of the things we did, I started talking about cost effective a little bit, is the other sheet that I gave you that's kind of just a spreadsheet. DC was working on that yesterday and today. Kind of giving you an idea when I say cost effective. So if you look at the left-hand column, that is everything that we have to outfit them with for them to be able to start FTO. So you're looking at $11,865 an officer to even
Per officer.
Per officer. And then if you look under that, it says additional cost, and DC did a really good job of breaking it down. Like if we were to do, where it says training academy, that's our academy. So you're talking about officers' time, if they're paid, electricity, all that kind of stuff. We averaged about $2,000 for us to hold an academy. Now that would be total, that's not per officer.
Oh, that's not per, okay.
Well, no, it would be, no, it is per officer, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And then if we have to do the 40 hours, like we have one currently in the laterals that needs a 40-hour pre-basic. So we have to pay $50 to ILEAD, hold the class, and then the rest is DC or I do it, and it's usually after hours when we're off. So if we were paying an officer, that's what the cost would be. And then tier 1, that's $2,500 each officer, and that's to get them out there, you have to pay. Then you got to buy their clothing, and there's a couple of certificates you have to pay for. And then we pay their FOP dues, and then insurance. Unfortunately, the clerk treasurer is out this week, so I didn't get those numbers on what that is. But just kind of throwing that out there. So when we start looking at next year's budget with the cuts that we're going to make, that they've made at the state level, I know the clerk treasurer and the chief deputy clerk treasurer are pretty shocked this week on how much money we're not getting, and then what's that cost look like.
Yeah.
And kind of like you and I spoke this week about the meeting, what does that look like, moving forward? If you're spending this much money now, we're losing money. Do we have 24-hour protection? Do we full-time officer versus reserves? All that kind of stuff. So just want to kind of start giving you numbers so that when you see the other numbers come out in the budget, you kind of have something to look at and say, well, why do we have so much money in clothing allowance? We have like $30,000, I think, budgeted for officers now. Well, if you look at, that, just the vest is $1,200, almost $1,300 right off the bat. So that kind of stuff. So just trying to give you more information so that when we look at the budget, you guys understand a little bit more, and then open it up that way. Any questions on any of that? You have anything you want to add?
No, I mean, I think it just kind of highlights, again, when you just talking about 4 laterals, that's, almost $50,000 just to equip them out the door, right? So I think especially when we get to the point of the conversations on like full-time versus number of reserves and that kind of stuff, when you hear like $108,000 for a full-time officer, well, you're already at $12,000 active in reserve, right? So just trying to give you guys an idea of what we're looking at and trying to translate some of that to you. When you hear some of these numbers or you hear the proposals and stuff we're making. Same with the training academy, the $2,000. We have to buy the uniform they're gonna wear in there. We have to buy ammo for when they go to the range. They all have to have binders, flash drives, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of expense that goes into getting those things. And just to run that, and then when they get out of there, we're looking at $12,000 a piece. And then if they fail in FTO, it's just a lot of money that's committed.
So-
You have to look at it also like the ballistic vest is fitted for them. So if we spend $1,300 and they get through the academy but don't get out of FTO, we have to either hire somebody that fits or one of the things look at, DC made a good point. You're looking at almost $12,000 for a reserve officer. And it takes, if you have a full-time officer working 5 days, that's 5 reserve officers. So when you start adding, 12,000 times 5, so you're kind of putting money into reserves versus putting them into a full-time person that's here, we're paying, we have, that isn't gonna hop from job to job to job as much as some reserves will. Like we lost several to county because Marion County gives take-home cars. So they'll go over there even though it might not be a better department or division, but what they get out of it means more to them than what they can get here, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah,
Okay, so we have 4 laterals that we're going to be looking at.
yeah.
Right. As reserve officers. And then we have these other. How many are we really, obviously we don't know the money yet, as far as what we will have. But let's say we had this year's budget. What are we looking at? Do we want 8 or do we want?
Yeah, no, you don't need 8. So every officer works 1 day a week, each
Right.
reserve, right? And then you have your 3 shifts. Now,
Right.
weekend's a little different because our other full-timer works Thursday through Sunday. But the other problem that we're looking at is IMPD last night said they were over 300 short. So getting by with having one officer out a shift isn't officer safety either. We're asking them to go out and do something that their backup might be 20 minutes away. So looking at, can we get enough to say, we have a tack shift that works half of this shift and half of that shift, so there's 2
There's
guys
some
or
coverage.
2 officers. So there's a lot of those things that we look at when we look at those numbers.
Right.
So, 8 would probably be a good number. The other issue that we have is, we hire these 4. We have an academy of 12, but 2 of these can't make it through FTO, 4 funk, so you can never keep the number, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's hard to keep ahead of it. I mean, I'd love to have 2 extra officers, that if I lost 2, I can go, okay, we're still good. But I can tell you right now, if we lose another officer, we have shortage issues. And we've moved schedules around to make sure that, you guys all have at least 24 hours a day. And that's very, very hard right now, just with the numbers that we have. So, and again, we kind of talked about it. Yeah, I could go hire 12 guys right now, but is that the 12 officers we want working for us to represent the
Right,
city?
that's the thing, qualified
Yeah.
officers.
So think about it this way, if we hire, let's say we get 10 non-laterals, they go through a 6 to 7 month academy, they go through another 6-month FTO. We don't have them on the street filling a shift for over a year.
Right,
So that's why we look at laterals too. Can we offset some of that to see what we get out of here? And we've even looked, like even the desk services, police officers are older retired people. And we're losing them due to age and that kind of stuff. Could we put them through the academy, start them there as an overflow, and then when open shifts come open, utilize it that way too? So yeah, there's several different angles that we beat our head a couple hours a day to try to figure out. But again, just want to kind of give you guys numbers so that when you look at it and I say, I can't do it on this much, that's some of the reason why. Any other questions on that? Did you have anything else?
No.
All right.
Thanks, Chief, for that information.
Oh, no, you're welcome. Thank you, guys. DC and I and the major met with the new apartments yesterday and talked about how they want to handle trespassing, how do we get access into the building and that kind of stuff. It was a really good meeting. They're very pro us helping, so that's nice. So we got them set up. We're going to email them the trespass agreement. One thing when we trespass, you have to have an agent of the apartment there, so like a manager or something. They don't like being called out at 3 o'clock in the morning. So our trespass gives us the ability to trespass like homeless people, that kind of stuff, off the property without calling them and having them come down. So
wait,
it speeds
explain
it up.
that. If you get a call and someone wants a police officer, and you're gonna go do that run, you gotta have a representative?
If it's a trespassing. So if you're on the property.
Oh, I've never saying it's trespassing.
So let's say you got in.
But I'm saying there's an issue.
Oh, yeah, no, this is
Okay.
just trespassing. no.
I misunderstood.
Yeah,
Okay,
no.
trespassing, strictly.
Yeah, strictly trespassing. And then they're gonna get us a key code to be able to get in the building, because when they're gone, the building's locked. Without a key fob, you can't get in. And she didn't like me using my 40-pound key to the city. So she's going to give us a key code to get in.
So is there a general area in those apartments that is common, or?
Oh, yeah, they actually, if you go on the north side of it, they've got a patio outside that's got a grill and a fire pit. And then if you go in that door, there's a common area that's got 2 big TVs on each side of the fireplace that you can sit. And then next to that, they have a work from home station. So if you work from home, you can go down there. And she's giving my officers access to go in there if they need to do reports so that they're seen and all that. So I think it was a really good meeting. Like I said, they were very receptive to everything, and just figured if we're going to have 150 people there, let's get off on the right foot and not try to catch up to it. So that was great. National Night Out, I thought was a success. It looked pretty good. It was a little low on attendance. I think this is the first year that the kids went to school before. They usually go the day after. And then they weren't sure about the weather, but I think everybody had a good time. Ate a lot of food. We also did a tour for the Easter seals.
I saw that.
Yeah, they brought in some mentally challenged, most of them were adults actually, and did a tour of the building and got to see the police cars and all that stuff. And one of them is actually RoboCop. She's very proud of that. So if I need another officer, she said she would be here. So we might hook her up on that one. But it was a really good event. It was nice to see them here. They actually went to the mayor's office, met those guys, and clerk treasurer's office. So I think it was a good time. Last for the police, I had a meeting with the Sikh members. You know, a big Sikh temple there in Greenwood. Franklin Township has a big population. So working on some of the things with them for community policing and how we do things in America versus their country and stuff like that. I guess they have an issue with domestic violence right now, so working on some of that stuff with them. So that was a good meeting. Other than that, that's all I have for the police.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this?
No. Okay.
All right. First agenda on the public works part is Bryce is back to school. Bryce is our part-time seasonal person. He would like to stay on. He's a really good kid, and he works really hard. He's meeting with his guidance counselor next week. He has 2 days during the week where he doesn't have to go to the last 2 classes if he has a job. So he's looking at trying to get that worked out. If not, he would come after school and then do Saturdays and Sundays, whatever we need him to do. So I'd like for the board to vote on keeping Bryce as a part-time maintenance person.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve Bryce Boudreau as a continue part-time employee of Southport?
I make a motion that Bryce Boudreau continue his part-time employment. Do we know about how many hours a week he's working?
We're going to keep it at 25.
Is it 25?
He won't
It'll be a
extend it.
split.
Okay, so it is current hourly amount.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Cooney. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Cooper. Now, discussion, questions? Anything that?
Sounds good to me.
He's not afraid of heights anymore. Put him in the bucket truck.
Thank you.
Don't you like wild horse? Get in there, go. Yeah, no, he's good. All right.
Okay, no further questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Motion passes.
All right, they had a couple doors over here they worked on. They got the timbers in the park were rotting out around the merry-go-round. They replaced those. They had 2 stop signs that were either hit or bent. They replaced those. Somebody stole the Southport, welcome to Southport sign in Madison, Southport again. They replaced the dead end sign on Combs in Southport that was knocked over. And then they cut trees back on South Street in the tracks. And then McFarland in Southport, we had to trim that whole corner back because they're installing that flock camera and it has to be able to see the plates to read them. So we got all that done. I spoke to Brad Staley today, our engineer with Crossroads. For the parking lot, they wanted to start at the last week of August trying to do some of the drainage on the north side. They won't be able to do that. So September 1st will be their starting date. So
why not? Because they can't do it or we can't allow it?
No, we allow them to do it.
I know we allow them, but I
He
don't
thought
hear
that they had time and
Okay.
he said they had a project, I guess something to add on.
Okay.
So he doesn't think they're gonna have the manpower to start it.
Oh, okay.
So September 1st, that will start. The park will be closed, the park entirely, for 45 days. So
The community center will be pretty much closed.
it's closed, everything's closed over there. Yeah, there'll be barricades. I think they're gonna run some temporary fence along Derbyshire, so kids can't just go down the hill to get in there. Because remember, they're gonna demo that whole thing and lower that parking lot. So there's gonna be a lot of heavy equipment and stuff, and we just don't want them there.
And I wanted to make a note on the fact that when we were in the pre-construction meeting,
Mhm.
they had talked about the railings,
Yes.
and they were gonna be coming up with new railings because the railings are being installed after the walls are up, and they'll be measured after that and ordered after, there may be a short period of time that the railings, they'll put temporary railings up. They will not be what we paid for. So I don't know what temporary railings look
Right.
like, but I just want you to be aware that if people go, what are these railings? That's not what we ordered.
They will. You're right, they will.
So,
Yeah,
and we
and
did save a little money,
we did, yeah, they ended up,
30,
yeah, it was 30, wasn't it?
about 30,000.
Off the
changing
railing,
them.
because for some reason that came in really high, I
Yeah.
don't know why. But yeah, so all that will get done. That's all I got. On permits, I know she's got 2 active permits, I believe it was.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, did you get a hold of her for permits?
I did, she said no.
No.
Yeah. I said we had 2 that they ended up getting up, okay. That's all I got. Any other questions?
I've got something.
What you got?
One, the speed limit sign right here on Mormon was engulfed by that tree. You
Yeah.
can't even see it.
Me and the code enforcement officers talked about that yesterday, we had our ordinance meeting.
And then our other little neighbor down there, she's still yet to trim her trees away from the street sign and the speed limit sign.
We're talking about Marta?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, we had those conversations yesterday. Yesterday was our ordinance meeting. We have fireworks one worked out. We're looking at a couple other things on it. And then the noise, we're still doing some more research on that because that will fall into the noise one. But no, we spoke about the trees, and then we have some on South Street that hang out.
Right.
And it's too narrow when you get 2 cars, and we got them complaining they're scratching their cars and stuff, so.
Right.
We're on that one. I know he sent out a bunch of NOVs. I will start, let's talk about the sheets. Never mind.
You guys get to sit on walls.
Oh, yeah, right,
Yeah.
you're aware of this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of them, you guys get the code enforcement
Right.
things, so, yeah, sometimes look on there and see if we've already addressed it, because I know there were several, he's got letters out too. We had one double that we had to find. The actual owner lives in Chino, California. So Tony did a
And
great job tracking him
they find
down.
out, you know, they have an address, but you mail and they don't respond, and then you have to try to track them down with a phone number. That's not always easy to do.
So he did some good investigative work and found them. and
That's all part of it.
got it going. But yeah, we'll address those. Like I said, I know those have been on the radar. And
It's a process, it takes a while. By law, we gotta give them X amount of days, and we try to err on the side of being generous, so we're not, you know, writing tickets all the time. But it takes a while sometimes to get it done.
We can't give somebody a ticket for exceeding the speed limit if they can't see the
Right.
speed.
Well, that's true, but the whole city is one speed limit, so,
Yeah.
okay.
And it
We-
still gives them the argument, you know.
Any other questions?
Any other new business or questions?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, let's open it up to our audience here, 3-minute maximum per person. Anyone have a question or a statement or a comment?
I have one.
Of course.
I just wanted to make sure that everyone is aware, I'm trying to get this message out there, that the developer of the builder, Tyler Ridge Group, of the current apartment complex,
Yes.
is interested in buying more land in Southport and doing a second phase of apartments. And there seems to be some opposing viewpoints on the RDC on that.
Okay.
But I just want to make sure people are aware of it, that if this goes through, if this actually happens, it would take out Southport Antique Mall, the little house that's north of there that says something
Next
about
to the flea
comics
market?
or whatever.
Or next to the antique
Or,
mall?
I'm sorry, west.
That might not be a bad
West.
thing.
West.
That might not be a bad thing. And also the former dance studio that's now a Chin Church, so it would go all the way to Captain Auto. It would, that whole section.
Like Dairy Queen to.
From Dairy Queen
To phase 1.
to phase 1.
Yeah.
Now, if I mean, we live in a free market society, and if they purchase that land, we don't have a lot of control over what they do with it. But there was a meeting that happened between the president of the RDC and the mayor with Tyler Ridge that, from what I understand, indicated that we were interested in talking about this as an option. When the RDC had our special meeting in April, we had decided as an RDC that we were not interested in more residential in the commercial area, but some RDC members have changed their viewpoints since that meeting. So I'm just sharing the information.
Okay, so I have a question for you then.
Yep.
So I watched the meeting that you had, and if they are going to come, or anyone is going to come to the RDC meeting, that's the appropriate method.
Yes.
Are you going to be able to, how are we going to get it out to the citizens of Southport so that they can come to the meeting and express their views? Because
That's a great,
you know,
that's
we
a
need
great
to
question.
come up with something for that.
That's a great question. That's why I'm coming to every meeting and getting that information out there so that you know this is a possibility. So that you can help spread the word to other people in the city. I'm trying to tell everybody I can. Personally, I don't want to see more residential in our commercial area. I think that we have such a small commercial area to begin with, that I would hate to see that be completely cannibalized by more apartments.
Because, yeah, if you notice, Fishers, Greenwood, they're just building these little mega cities everywhere.
Yeah,
And I'm sorry, but I think it kind of ruins.
it ruins the
The
charm.
flavor of our city.
Yes, it does,
Yeah.
and we're a small, you know, we're incorporated, but we're not, what I could say metropolitan,
Right.
you know, so I just don't think that'd be a good idea anyways.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to get that message out there so that you can help when you're talking to people in the city, let them know that this is a possibility and tell them, I guess, to watch for RDC meetings, you know, to have those discussions. Personally, I don't think the president of the RDC and the mayor should be meeting with groups outside of an RDC
Right.
meeting. I think they need to come to those, but
Okay, anyone else? Question? What time is it? It is 7:32.
I said 30 minutes, she ruined it.
What?
I said 30 minutes, she ruined it.
Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion by Cooney, do I have a second? Second by Price. All right, we're adjourned.
You get that.
I love this thing, yeah.
Hate you.
I love this. Sit next to me.
She wanted to Southport, I said, I don't think so, because I would have been the one to work. And then she said, okay, so I said, no, and I emailed, I said, I don't think we would do